All right, so with that, all right, let's just jump right into it. And we're going to cover just two types of plays. So when we're getting started in stock options, we're managing the risk so we can protect any type of downside or a negative impact to a stock. The way that we can do this is by doing A1 play and a B play. So the A1 play is really about, all right, how much capital are we willing to, put into a particular option, right? So with an A1 play, if you're getting a lot of positive confirmations based off of like what you're seeing, how that stock is moving, you're noticing that it has, in terms of whatever position you're playing, and is going in that direction, you're willing to deploy, 20 to 30% of your net liquidity of capital on that particular option, right? So, and then you also want to have it set it up in a way that you can minimize the loss that you're exposed to, which is going to be around like 5 to 10%. So this is where the discipline really comes in at, because if you're seeing it starting to like dip at the 5 to 10% range, that's when you want to start getting out. And you want to be mindful if you're doing like 30% on like how much you want to be able to start getting out of given this type of play. The next one is a B play. So a B play is you don't have really full confirmations on a particular stock movement. You're really uncertain about this, might be a little more volatile, but like this is a play that you can still get into. So you're just willing to allocate about like 5 to 10% of your capital on this particular stock, right? So if you have a portfolio, you're only exposing yourself to 5 to 10% of it, and you're getting out at around like 3 to 5%. So this is just some strategies, some ways to get started to be able to like manage the risk and your exposure on a particular play. So that's just something to just keep in mind of. There's just some rule of thumbs that you can use when looking to get into a type of option and how you want to approach it based off of these type of plays. All right, so next thing we want to do is we want to talk about how to set up a trail stop, right? And when setting up a trail stop, you can go into like the Thinkorswim app and using the TD Ameritrade, and you can be able to first you want to buy it, and the way that you do that is once you open up the view, you should be able to see at the top here. This is what it should look like, and you should be able to select the stock that you want, and you should want to choose options. So then once you select options on your actual screen, and you can also, I mean, we're just walking through it on the actual app, and you can walk through it with me and if you have any questions. But this is just a way to get it set up so you can actually set up a trail stop, right? So when you have this up and available, you go to options, and you want to change the strikes here to 50. That way you can see the list of all the options there, right? And once you can see the list of all the options, you can then also change the columns, right? So number 3 is where you see the list of options, and then you can see where you can change the columns by hitting the settings button right in the middle. And this is where you can choose the columns that you want to have in your view on basically what type of how you want to kind of see the screen displayed given these parameters, right? So you have volume, open interest, last, and there's already default settings there, but this is so that you can kind of tell on which options you want to select. And the way that we select the options is at number 5 here on your screen. You want to go all the way to the column that says open interest, right? And in the open interest column, you want to choose the stock that has the highest open interest. And with the highest open interest, you want to be, and that tells you how many people are already actually active on that particular stock, already have that or in that position. So you want to be able to see, because that tells you the liquidity, and you want to get the stock that aligns well with that type of particular play. All right, so then you choose that stock, and then you want to review your order. And then once you review your order, you can then be able to press send and get set up, and then be able to set up your trail stop. We'll go into that a little bit, but before we jump into it, because I want to create also more clarification on the difference between open interest and the volume of, because those are the two columns that we really look at, because that tells you the liquidity. You want to make sure, like, in terms of how leveraged you are on a particular position, the liquidity that's also available on that particular play. So that's also really important there. And so the difference that we want to clarify is that when we look at the volume, and volume is also something that we want to be mindful of. What does that mean? So when it comes to liquidity, so this tells you the number of trades that's completed each day. So that gives you the strength and the interest on a particular trade. So that's what that volume means. And as you can see here, we have two columns, which is open interest and volume. So for this particular stock at 1.02, when you look at the last column, given this strike price of 310, you can see that the open interest in the volume compared to the other options contracts is much higher. So that's why we want to choose this particular play, because you can see that there's a potentially a lot higher liquidity in this. So you see there's more activity happening, and then you can potentially realize more profits and more rewards by selecting this stock here. So when it comes to open interest, the reason this number is important is because it tells you how many traders and investors are in an active position, right? So you can get a sense of how many trades have been completed each day, and that tells you that's a regular basis. Usually, typically, open interest is just reported once a day, but it tells you how many are actually in an active position. So that's something just to keep in mind. But then again, open interest, if it's greater than the volume, that can actually signal another meaning on like how that stock is performing. So you want to get involved on particular plays based off of those two numbers, right? So these are just additional signals on that particular stock on how you may want to play it, given the rest of the contracts that are available to you on this stock here. All right.
So keep in mind when you're looking at open interest and volume. So when you click on options, you're going to see your option chain, and then you're going to choose what strike, what contract you want based off of how long you're going to hold that position, if it's just for that day or if you're holding that for a week or a month. You're going to choose based off of how you're going to trade it. If you're going to hold it, you can go further out of the money. If it's like more so like a day trade, you can go closer to the money. You want to be closer in, but if you're holding it, you can go further out. So that's something to, and it's not necessarily you having to pick the one with the most open interest, like you only have one choice. You just want to make sure that there's a lot there. You don't want it to be something small. So you don't always have to go for the one that has the most. Just kind of just choose based off of how you want to play that. But you do want to make sure open interest that the number is a good number there.